Some are new. Some you've been around here for a while. Okay, what's up, Sherilyn? If you are new, make sure that you go out to my website and get my book, The Forbidden Secrets of the Goodie Box, What Your Father Didn't Tell You and Your Mother Didn't Know. I promise you that this is a wonderful resource. It will truly bless you. It will enlighten you. It will educate you on some things that you did not know about relationships. And you go to my website, christopherreid.org, and you get that. And you can download that. You can not download the PDF. You can download the Kindle file. And make sure you're following me at the Doc Reid. Okay, on Twitter and Periscope and YouTube. I'm on. Just search Doc Reid. I got a billion videos out there. All right, what's going on, Kim Perry? Did I say that right? What's going on? Yeah, invite your followers. Invite your followers. Like I said, hopefully Lexi will get out here and invite her people. And then we will have a nice gathering. But you know what? No matter who's out here, I'm loving it. Okay, so this particular subject. Hey, what's up, baby girl? What's going on? Maybe you'll hang out tonight and get something out of this, or maybe not. So this particular topic, I want to speak to those of you who I would say that you're very frustrated. You're very frustrated. I would say that you're very confused, probably in many instances, as it pertains to relationships, and in this topic of being used and whatnot. And one of the reasons why you're frustrated and confused is because you feel like you've been taken advantage of. Okay, and with that being said, you feel like, okay, I'm a giver. Now, when I say you're a giver, I mean like not that you casually give here and there. No, but the very definition of who you are is you love to give. You've always been like that. And so, and maybe in relationships, you know what? You might be the nice girl. Okay. You might be categorized as the good girl. Yeah, or doormat. It definitely could go by that name as well. And so, but you hear these terms, nice girl, good girl. And you're like, wait a minute, is that a bad thing? I mean, what's wrong with being a nice girl, and a good girl? Well, it seems like for you, because you see some other, sisters out here that are not that way, and you get a little confused because it seems like they can't, guys are coming at them left and right. They don't have any problem, getting dates and, guys at, and they're not. Some may say, hey, they're the B word, right? And you're like, but why do I have to be mean? Do I have to be, do I got to cuss a guy out? Do I got to talk to him crazy? Just so that he will respect me? Because you're like, my thing is, I love God, and I'm just not wired that way. So when you meet guys, part of the challenge is, you meet these guys and you feel like, hey, what's mine is yours, right? You're right. You said you ask yourself that question a lot. So you like, what's mine is yours. That's just the way that you are wired. So what I mean by that is, hey, you've dated guys and, because your thing is this, I'm not tripping over no money. It ain't hard for me to get it. I ain't in love with it. So if you have a situation, I don't even, I don't mind paying. You go out, I'm not tripping off that. If it's a trip or something like that, or we want to split it up, you're like, okay, cool, whatever. It's not that deep to me, okay? Because your thing is, if you in it like I'm in it, it's good. I'm putting it towards the pot. Yeah, you say you have too much empathy at times, and so it's like, okay, whether it's a car or you need to borrow my car, it's nothing, your house, your ideas, if a guy you see a guy, we talk about having a lot of potential a lot of times, and you're like, hey, if I can help contribute to make you better, thereby making us better, I'm on board. Now, part of the challenge with that is. And part of the challenge with why you have ended up being frustrated, so many of you that are listening to this are frustrated and confused, is because you gave, but you didn't receive. So you basically gave without receiving. And I mean, if you really look back on it, a lot of times, ladies, hey, what's up, Dieta? A lot of times you really barely knew this guy. I mean, seriously, if you really look back, I mean, how much did you really, did you really know him? Hey, what's up? Just call me. And when I say did you really know him, because sometimes when you are a giver, which you are, and you have this urge, like I said, if you feel like this guy has poured into you in some way, if you feel like, and some, for some of you ladies, that's a kind word. That's just him, treating you, just being nice, okay? And for some of you, you may just be in a space. He may catch you in a dry place, okay? Meaning he ain't came with no ocean, okay? He ain't came with an ocean of compliments. He came with like a drop of water, okay? A thimbleful. But you were so appreciative, and it tapped in so much to that part of you that gives whenever you feel like you've gotten something, that you just immediately, you all in. And honestly, the hope is, if I do this, then I'm I ain't giving to get. There ain't no catch to my giving. I'm not trying to trick you, but my hope is that because you will see that you as a man, that he's sowing into good ground, good soil, that he would be more than willing to reciprocate when you give. Because you're like, hey, I'm dependable, all right. I am accommodating, which you say I don't see any problem in being accommodating. What's wrong with being accommodating? But the problem is, ladies, with this, you end up being way too available. What's up, Diamond Brown? Good evening. You end up being way too available. So all of these qualities, all of these which you feel are God virtues that you have, end up being the very thing in your relationship that's costing you, that's causing you to put your amazing pearls before swine. Okay, like I said, and a lot of times you barely really know this guy, but because he said a kind word, he did a couple nice gestures, you immediately went into what you do and you give. But your giving is like your faucet. Once it turns on, you full throttle. You're a fire hydrant. You know what I mean? You don't have no trickle. Because you only know one setting. You're like, I only know one speed. Okay, and I get that. But you give to these guys, or this guy. No, I would just stay single. I don't know about that, but I'm not saying you just gotta stay single, but you just gotta be mindful. You just gotta be aware, because you give to these guys who continue to expect out of you all these things. Okay, and here's one of your biggest problems, ladies. Listen up. You put his wants before your needs. Okay. If you really look back, you put his wants before your needs. But the problem is, he didn't put your wants before his needs. I'm just saying, I'm big on reciprocating. I don't see any problem with you giving, okay? But at some point you have to look at what are you giving into, and what are you getting in return, okay? And so some of you at some point, because you can only go so far, you can only go so long pouring out, and you don't get anything back, right? And so you get to a point where you have nothing left. You get to a point where you are empty. Your vessel, it's done, okay? Like you're on E. And here's the thing about this. Under any other circumstances, ladies, you would not go until it's done. Like, so you wouldn't drive your car until you just run out of gas. You see, you're on the highway and you're like, okay, I'm about to be on E, so I'm just going to keep going. No, you wouldn't do that. But when it comes to you, when it comes to something that's way more valuable and precious, which is you will let yourself go till you are just bone dry in your tank. Why do you do that? Okay? And then here's the thing. When this guy uses you, when he realizes you've given everything, you have nothing left, he'll come back for more. He will literally come back to try to get more out of you. And so, in your frustration, in those moments when your heart is just shattered, you cry out. I mean, God, what's going on? How come it's the case that I'm not trying to hurt nobody? How come it's the case that I just want to love and be loved? But like I said, I see the women out here dogging guys, treating them like trash, walking all over them. But at the same time, they got more men than they know what to do with. But I'm sitting up here trying to do what I'm thinking I'm supposed to do. And I'm the one brokenhearted. I'm the one crying myself to sleep. And so you ask these questions. And you know what? Sometimes you feel like you don't get no answers. You feel like God is going silent on you. Now, I mean, not saying that you mad at God, but you feel like, God, where are you? And so say you muster up the ability, your tank gets full, gets back up, you meet another guy, and you're hoping this time, maybe this is going to be different, It starts out like all the other ones do, and yeah, sometimes you're mad, and sometimes you get mad at God. I mean, if you keep it 100, sometimes you get mad at God. And you hope it's going to, and you know what? It ends up slowly but surely because you end up doing the same thing you did in the last situation and you right back there again. So here is what I want to propose to you. Here's what I want you to think about, ladies, why this might happen. And this is something that's very important, that if you are the giver, it's something that maybe you've been challenged with, and that is boundaries. Okay. When we think of boundaries, we think about, in the scripture, it talks about the outer court, inner court, and the Holy of Holies. I mean, those in of themselves are forms of boundaries. And when you think about a boundary, it separates two things. Okay. So that whatever stays on that side and then whatever it needs to stay over here is on this side. Okay. So when we talk about boundaries, ladies, many of you never learn how to develop boundaries, okay? Because for many of you, even as a child, you were led to believe what you wanted didn't matter, okay? What you wanted didn't matter, okay? You were like the Cinderella in your family, okay? You do everything. You do what we say. We don't care nothing about how you feel. Well, she don't have to do it. How come y'all ain't telling her that she got to do? Well, you know what? Why you worrying about what she doing? We told you to do it. So at some point over and after you hear certain things, you learn, oh, I'm just supposed to, be accommodating to people. So when we talk about this concept of boundaries, say, for example, you're a house, okay? And you have a front yard. Well, normally, if you don't want anybody to come in your yard, you have a fence, okay? But part of the problem with you ladies is some of you don't have your fence. So you know what? We're going to do a cookout and have a barbecue in your yard. We're going to pull up our car in your yard, in your grass. Why not? We're going to change our tires on your lawn and look at you and dare you to say something. You don't got no fence. How are we supposed to know if between mine and yours? And when you're talking about a relationship, this fence represents, because when you first meet somebody, a guy, It starts out with conversation. When you let a guy believe and know he can get access to you, okay, anytime, meaning he calls you when he wants to, he can text message you when he wants to, you Johnny on the spot, okay? But when you text message him, call him, you don't hear from him for a day. You don't hear from him for 2. He got boundaries, you know, but you right on it. Or he can talk to you, you know, a little sideways, you know, get kind of smart. And you know, well, I didn't want to try to start no argument. You know, I was just saying that, you know, I mean, but you saying what though? I mean, because you always saying, you know what I'm saying? And that's crossing into your yard. He shouldn't, if you are truly the diamond, I mean, what you are, you know, you may be a wounded diamond, even a cracked diamond, but you the diamond, okay, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable at all. And so, like I said, he'll have his boundaries, ladies, but you will let him come all in your yard and do whatever he wants to. Okay. So for many of you, that's the first barrier that you don't have. Okay. That's fine. Some yards don't have fences, but typically most houses have the next level of boundaries. You have doors, you have windows. Now you may be able to come in my yard. Okay, that's cool, that's out there, that's fine. But you just can't just walk all in my house. You understand what I'm saying? That's what the door is there for. You know, because in here this is mine. You know, I have my furniture and TV, my family. You can't do that. All right. However, for some of you, praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. Y'all don't have doors. I ain't never seen no. It's cold and it's just, you know, y'all don't have doors. So you know what? You know what? Hey, what's yours is mine. We about to eat up all your food. Okay, we gonna put our feet on your furniture, watch what we want to watch on TV. Okay, and do what we want to do and leave when we get ready. Now, in a relationship, when a guy has access. Now, we've talked about talking to you a certain way, but now you've given him access to you. Okay? He summons you. Hey, what's up? Call you at midnight anytime. Hey, what's going on? Yeah. Hey, why don't you swing through? You busy? Oh no. You know you busy. Yeah, you was asleep. You know, you try to answer the phone like you been up. You know, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? You busy? Oh, no. You know, you've been asleep for the last 2 hours. But no, God forbid, you know, that we make him think that we are not available. So he's like, hey, you know, why don't you come through? Oh, okay. So you got to go over there in the middle of the night. Okay, but no, you got to be accommodating. Okay, and so also with these guys, you let them touch you. You don't know this dude. You don't know him like that. You know, and I'm not saying that he's being forceful, but you let him get a little too friendly. You know, you know, you let him put his hand in some places, sir. I don't know you. Can't just touch me. But you know what? Your boundaries. You don't have them. Because, let me tell you, ladies, guys always testing, always filling you out. And I'm not even saying that the guy's motives is always bad or wrong. You know, we hunters. So if you let a guy touch you in a certain place, like he kind of comes in to hug you and he can put his hand right here, but maybe it goes a little low. It ain't on your butt, but it's kind of at the top. You know what I mean? And it's like, and you don't tighten up, you don't have that knee-jerk response, then, oh, okay, it's like that. This is what he's thinking to himself. So next time, I'm going to kind of, you know, gradually go in a little bit closer. So he's infringing on your boundaries. And like I said, a lot of times you'll do this, ladies. You don't know this guy. You don't know him like that, but because he was nice to you, okay, he treated you kind, All right. Anybody can treat you kind for a couple of days, a week, 2 weeks. All right. But we going in too fast. We're going in way too fast. All right. So that is a lot. So, and ultimately, what ends up happening, ladies? Okay, we're intimate. Okay, we getting it in. Yeah, yeah. You know what's going on. You know what this leads to. And so even with that, ladies, you give him some again and again and again and again because you're hoping you're hoping that he's going to stick around. You're hoping this means more to him than just some casual, romping around. You're hoping he sees you as more as just a piece of, and you're not sure because you don't really know, but you're hoping because he hasn't really done enough. He hasn't had enough stake in the game. He hasn't really shown you enough for you really to know, but you are hoping, okay? And you ultimately find out it was nothing. It was nothing. And so that gets us to the last boundary. Now, where's the one place in your home, ladies, that when you have company, you just don't let people go in this place in your house? Where is that? You have company, make sure you shut that door. Okay. Hey, y'all, where you at? Okay, here I come. Yeah, your bedroom. Yeah. Yep, everybody, the bedroom. The bedroom, because I was changing. I got clothes all over the place. I didn't have time. Whatever it is, you just can't go in there. The bedroom, that's the heart. That's the center. That's the nucleus. That's the place of vulnerability. The sanctuary, yes. That's where your little girl lives. All right. Now, for so many of you, you have eliminated the boundaries, the door that leads to the bedroom. So now we come all in here. And like I said, that's your vulnerable place. That's where your little girl lives. And your little girl has been hurt. She's been wounded. All right. Now, when your little girl is hurt and when your little girl is wounded, all right, everything else is messed up because you can have those other layers. You can have the outer court. You hear what I'm saying? Guys can talk to you a certain way. Okay, yeah, whatever. Guys can even, you can give guys access to your body. But once that heart, ladies, hear me closely. Once that heart is wounded, that damage right there, you don't just so easily get over that. And for so many of you, when your little girl, your heart, your bedroom, your inner sanctuary was wounded, it was when you were even a child. So you came in to this as a grown woman. You're a grown woman physically, but you're a child. You're that same little girl in that bedroom who was abandoned, who was abused, who was hurt, who was made to feel like what she wanted didn't matter, who was made to feel like she wasn't worth being protected, who was made to feel like she wasn't a priority, who was made to feel like God didn't even care about her. Because if he did, how could a loving God let these things happen to me? How? I ain't hurt nobody. I'm a child. So you grow up as a grown woman, your 20s, 30s, 40s. But you still that same little hurt baby girl. And you give these men access to your bedroom, to your holy place, to your inner sanctuary, and they bruise your soul. They continue to inflict further damage on you. And so many of y'all are so, the more I do this, the more I talk and the more I share with y'all, I realize because y'all tell me how broken y'all are. Whether it's molestation and oh my God, there's so many of y'all that people touched and done things to that it just seemed like it's an epidemic. I'm like, who wasn't touched? And it's sad that I even have to say that and ask that question because that right there, that is one of the main culprits of hurting your inner little girl. When somebody touches you, however they do that, Because, and some of you, you've never told anybody. So many of you have suffered in silence. So many of you have been made to feel like you were the problem. So many of you have thought like, well, I did this. Maybe I should have done something different. Maybe I made them think something. Now, how you gonna, you a child, how you gonna make them think something? No, you can't take that responsibility. But see, you grow up like this. And that's why that's why there's no fence. That's why there's no front doors or windows on your house. That's why the door to your bedroom is wide open. Your heart is just totally exposed because you were made to feel like you were the property of everybody else. You were made to feel like you were not your own. You were even made to feel like, in many regards, if we keep it honest, that you were not even God's. Yeah, you say that, but you don't feel that. You don't feel that covering and that protection oftentimes. You want it, you desire it. Every woman, every little girl wants to be protected and guarded and shielded. But if you're honest, you don't feel it. So you feel like you out here trying to justify your existence, trying to prove somehow that you're worth being noticed, that you're worth somebody's attention, that you're worth somebody's praise, that you're worth somebody even somehow thinking maybe you're a diamond. And you should never have to do that. You should never, ever have to do that. So I'm telling you, if you don't have boundaries, if your fence is gone, your doors is gone, listen, you ask God, pray, ask God. Say, Lord, listen, this is where I am. I'm honest. I'm broken. I need you. I need you. I need to be rebuilt the right way. I've been broken down. I've been torn down. I've been discarded. I need to be built up the right way. Okay. And for some of the rest of you, because every time I get out here, I know I'm talking to somebody. I say that every week. I know the Holy Spirit, when he gives me a particular message, it's for somebody. I don't know who it's for. Okay. But it's for you. If it's for you, whoever you is, okay, get at me. All right. This is what I do. All right. I don't come out here for grins and giggles. I come out here for whoever I'm talking to. Get at me. All right. We can talk. We can chop it up. We can figure out what's going on with you. We can figure out why your boundaries were removed. We can figure out why you've allowed people to just come all up in your house and in your bedroom, figuratively speaking, and take advantage of you. You hear what I'm saying? Let's talk. Let's do a consultation. It's free. Just hit me up. We talk 30 minutes. It's free. Okay? To find out what's going on with you. And if we decide that coaching, that we can work together and I can further help you, let's do that. Okay? But you got to be willing. If you tired, that's it. If you tired, but you got to be tired. Some aren't tired. Some are still okay. You're still thinking, hey, you're out of gas, but you're going to keep on trying to give. You're going to keep on trying to give. You're going to keep on trying to give. Okay? But when you tired, I'm talking about for real, tired. Because not everybody's tired. No, not some people are a little fatigued, you're a little winded. You ain't tired. Tired is a whole nother category. Because when you are truly tired, there's nothing. You can want to do something. When you tired, you like, you ever been so tired, it just hurt to open your eyes. You just, raise your hand. You can't even raise your hand. You're like, give God praise. I'm talking about seriously, and I'm talking really in your soul. Okay, in your soul, just in here, there's nothing left. Okay, straight up. So if I'm talking to you, most of y'all my regulars, y'all know me, y'all know what I do. Okay, and if I'm talking to you this week, okay, get at me. Go to my website. Okay, for some of y'all that may be new, it's my website, ChristopherReid.org. All right, you can email me and we can talk and chop it up and find out what's going on. For those of you who may have missed the beginning part, get my free book. My thing is to provide help and resource every time. And when I do talk to y'all, I love it because You gotta understand. I'm sitting in my office, right? And I never know who I'm helping. So I love it when y'all tell me this is helping y'all. I hope it's helping y'all. Because I really take a lot of time to think about and meditate the Holy Spirit what I'm gonna talk to y'all about. So if I'm missing the mark or if y'all not getting nothing out of it, please let me know. That's why I always ask y'all. Tell me what you want me to talk about. Seriously. I mean, I got so many videos out there on YouTube, and people have hit me up from literally around the world, which I love. I don't have an ego like that. I really am trying to help y'all, and hopefully it is. So if it's something that you want me to talk about, you can put a topic out there, and I promise you, I guarantee you, every time y'all tell me something, I got a long list of just topics, and then I just go through them and I just look at them, or whatever jumps out at me. Like I feel the Holy Spirit is telling me, yeah, we need to chop it up on that. Then I just wait for the download. Once it come in, I'm just pouring out. Let's go deeper next week. Mommy, daddy issues, how to recognize and fix it. Okay, I like that. I like that. Your mommy, daddy issues are huge. Me change my whole perspective. Okay, I love it. Change your whole because I don't. You know what? I don't want y'all being taken advantage of. Because you know what, ladies, when y'all elevate y'all game, and then the guys understand they can't just take advantage of y'all, and they can't just try that same old simple cat and mouse games, then they got to elevate their game. Because guys, they want we attracted to women. So if women are no longer falling for the mess, all right, what's the guys gonna do? They're gonna rise to the occasion. That's just how it works. How to deal with rejection. That's a big one. Yeah, I like that. How to deal with rejection. That's real good. That's real good. Any more? Because I ain't gonna hold y'all out here all night. Because hopefully y'all have a good Thanksgiving coming up. You're gonna make a lot of men angry. That's okay. It's good for them though. You have helped me define my worth again. And I like your icon, your avatar. It's a diamond. Yeah, I want to make them mad. Make them mad enough to change. Yeah. Let me, because I would not stop watching and go on the chat. You know what? Men are hurt too. Men are very hurt. And in many ways, the same reason is that women are hurt. And a lot of reasons that men do what they do to women is because of their hurt. It's not just, most people don't just say I want to hurt people and I want to, because hurt people hurt people. If you didn't know that, I mean, that's a common phrase, but know that hurt people hurt people. Okay. Yes. Let the men bring their A game. They got to bring their A game. Okay. Everybody's got to bring their A game. Ladies, you have to bring your A game. A lot of times though, it's you don't know what that is. So it's that, like I said, it's that hurt, it's that pain. You just got those blinders on, and when you got all that mud and dirt on your lens, you can't see through that. You can't see clearly. Your vision is blurred. It's cuffing season, laying low. Yeah, it's about to get cold out, and y'all know what that means. The last 3 episodes of Ayala. Yeah, that was so nice, right? Yeah, I watched that. I got that whole thing. I got the one she did with the women, the House of Healing, and the one she did with the men. I thought that was really good. The guy, if y'all haven't seen that, make sure y'all check that out. Is it Ayala? Iyanla? I always mess her name up, but y'all know what I'm talking about. She got this thing she did with the men and the women, and they get in this house, and they all these issues, and just stuff like I be talking about, and you see them go through the process of healing, and it was amazing. Now the guy who left, because that was the father of the girl that used to date Rick Ross, I'm just showing that I need a helmet and chin strap. Iyanla. Is the Y in there? Okay, I'm gonna stop before I make myself look even dumber. Okay, so he just would not. He was he was all kind of messed up. He wouldn't take responsibility. He was henpecked. Um, he was just, I really, here's what I think his thing was. I don't think he really wanted to believe he was as bad. I don't think he wanted to believe he was the guy. Yeah, I know, right? That would do that. I don't think he wanted to, because that would be so hurtful for him to just be honest and break down like that. Oh, his wife was extremely controlling. Oh, it was a very codependent relationship. He needed to be controlled and she was controlled. And she was very manipulative. I feel like you're trying to manipulate me. Well, she was the one, she was a Jedi mind trick. She was the one manipulating, you know? And he was like, I'm not trying to manipulate you. Hey, y'all need to watch that, ladies. That is, watch all of them. Watch the women, watch the guys. I'm trying to tell you. Right, she was mad manipulating, right? And she was crying. She did the waterworks. And he was like, she knew if he got the healing that he needed, if he got true deliverance, she wasn't going to be able to pimp him no more. And she was like, listen, you need to get home because I sent you away broken, but broken the way I need you broke. Okay, because it was right for me. But if they could send you back fixed, now I'm going to need a new gig because my hustle is over, you know, and I've had a nice ride. You know, we don't deal with your crazy oldest daughter, you know, because she probably don't even want her to have a relationship with her. Okay, she's probably one of the biggest wedges. You got it. Oh, yeah, watch this replay. But I'm trying to tell you, if you haven't seen that House of Healing with Iyanla, yeah, I think that was right. Check that out. Check it out. And then I felt bad because the one guy went back, you know, the one that sat there with his moms and they talked and, you know, they had a great, and they said, you know, when they did the recap, he went back. But here's the things that you got to understand, ladies. It's cool to, and I applaud it. I mean, you give me the platform, I'm doing it. I'm on it all day. But yeah, Kevin, you can't just in that setting, you know what I mean? When you've been dealing with those kind of issues all your life, and then you just get like a little quick fix and then you go on. It's like the scripture says, you look in the mirror and then you walk away and forget what you look like. You need continued support. You need continued help. The show, obviously, what they should have done is they should have paired everybody up. Now, maybe they did, and we don't know nothing about it, but they should have paired everybody up with a local coach, therapist, counselor, whatever in their particular area to continue the healing. Because there's no way you just going to deal with some of those things. So easy as about you being touched and don't bring out the fact that I didn't see all of that. There's no way she is just there to start them off. I think they maybe do. Yeah. Oh, well, hopefully they do. You know, I mean, she does an amazing job at starting it off. Phenomenal. Excellent. A guy told me his dad told him to find a wife that loves him more than he loves her. Is that typical? Him more than he loves her. That doesn't sound like great advice to me. They said he moved back in with his mom, which was probably the mistake. Yeah, mom and grandma. And then she eventually still had to get the restraining order on him. Yeah. So I'm telling you, even if you get help, you know, that's why I like working with people. You got to work with people. You know, I mean, that's just the process. That's just the process. Hey, One Georgia Peach 2. You have to learn how to maintain and manage your healing and deliverance. Yeah, you do. You have to learn how to, but somebody's got to show you that, you know, because, and she tells them, she says, listen, I'm going to tell you, when you leave here, that's when the real work will start. She tells them that. Guys get molested and abused as well. Of course they do. Oh my God. But think about how, when you talk about sexuality, when you talk about masculinity, how difficult that is for guys to have to admit that. They tend not to talk about. Of course not. Because now I was touched. And if I have also feelings about, and especially if it was a male who touched me, what does that say about me? Am I gay? Do I like men? I don't know. Maybe I'm struggling with my sexual identity. I don't know where I fall. Who am I going to have this very candid conversation with, especially in the black community? Okay, we're not. That's just not going to come out in the locker room. You know, you're not going to be in the barber shop and just chop that up. Even with your homeboy, hey man, you know, I want to bounce something off you, man. Just see what you think of. You're not women. Even though it's difficult for you as well, and there's a lot of hurt there, but you're probably more open to that than the guy because it's a lot of ego there. Okay, um, that you have to break through. So I'm trying to tell you, ladies, um, everybody's jacked up. I hate to say everybody's jacked up. When I say everybody, I don't mean everybody. I'm saying a lot of people are just so jacked up. His mother's drunk female friends, but he acted like it was cool. Please talk about that. Please talk about what? I'm sorry, maybe I missed it. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me here tonight. Um, please talk about men. Men in what regards? What do you want me to talk about? That's a wide topic. Abuse men. You want me to talk about in particular or anything in particular, or just in general? The effect that it has on men to be abused. I'll consider if that's something molested and how they act out. Okay, yeah, I will. I'll put that down on my list of topics to talk about if that's something that you ladies are interested in. I mean, I'm sure that the signs if a guy's been molested. Okay, masculine and feminine energy topic. Okay. Yeah, the signs, that's interesting because it could look different ways for different guys, you know. But yeah, we could talk about that. We definitely see y'all want to put on the scuba diving gear, huh? Yeah. See, that's what I'm about. Cause you know what? I think that, and this is no diss, but especially in Christendom, we hit the surface a lot, you know, and that's cool, but we got to go deep. We gotta go deep. We gotta do that deep surgery. Money and relationships, I saw that. Okay. We gotta go deep because that's where the real healing is. Okay, because when we just do surface, you notice how there's not a lot of significant change. Okay. And like I said, this is no diss against anybody, but a lot of times we just going through the motions, whether that's, you know, from a church was we shout and we dance and we did it good. We danced perms out. We didn't lost weight. We didn't did praise and worship aerobics, but we still struggling. We ain't healed. We ain't delivered. Topic traditional relationship versus modern relationship. Yeah, and a lot of people are tired of that. That's where the root is. Gotta go to dark places. Oh yeah, it's all in the dark places. I love the dark places though. You know what I mean? That's I'm a person that doesn't have a lot of. I've always been considered a deep dude. I don't have a lot of very surface conversations. Not that I'm overly deep, but I'm so intrigued. I'm drawn because I see when I talk to people. I see you, and I'm not looking to see something, but that's just how I'm wired. I see you. I'm drawn to certain things when people talk to me. Yeah, you said you are as well. If you so you can relate. When they say certain things, it sends like it triggers, right? And I'm like, oh, okay. So then that leads to you asking questions. And then, you know, my wife be like, oh God. You know, she's like, you can't even go somewhere to a Christmas party. You gotta be in a corner somewhere in a conversation. And she right, I do. I gotta try to pull it back, you know. And she's used to. I mean, we've been married 21 years now, so she's okay. It's just, you know, it's just hey, what he does. Okay, cool. So what can I say? Topic: emotional attraction, physical attraction. Okay, I like. Topic: dating divorcees. Ooh, yeah. I like. Next week, I think, as far as Periscope is concerned, may be my 1 year anniversary. I think Lexi and I did our first Periscope last year, the week of Thanksgiving, I want to say. I don't know if any of you were around at that time, but yeah. I told myself, I said, you know, I'm just gonna do this every week and just see what pops off, see what jumps off. Doc, most people don't want to be by themselves due to loneliness. Can you discuss how to manage loneliness? Whoo, yeah, that's a big one. And you know what? Thank you. I appreciate all the congrats. As it pertains to loneliness, you know, one of the biggest, I guess, the frustrating times of the years coming up for those who deal with loneliness, the holidays, because it feels like everybody else may be booed up in the commercials and everything that you see is about together and family and da 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 da. And if you don't have, it just makes you feel more alienated and isolated. Yes, you've been watching since last year. That's what's up. Yeah, a lot of people really ain't. You ain't trying to be bah humbug and you ain't trying to be the party pooper, but you like, you know what? You can miss me with all of that, and we can go really right to January. Yeah, let's talk about being lonely around the holidays. Yeah, no, it's a big one. And being alone does not mean you're alone. No, it is. It does not. Yep, first year alone. Yep, right. Yep. Yeah, being alone, you can be alone and still feel fulfilled and whole. But that's a process, exactly. I'm married, no kids, and lost my mom in January. Oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah, yeah. Alone with a peace of mind. Yeah, okay. Second year alone. Yeah, so that's a great topic. I can never talk about that one enough. I can never talk about it enough. Okay, all right, ladies, I'm about to get off here. I'm gonna let y'all go do what y'all gonna do tonight, and I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. And I scheduled myself to work on the holiday because of it. Hey, do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? Just don't let it keep you make you spiral downward. All right, God bless. Y'all be easy. Take care. See y'all next week. No, won't see you next Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. So I don't know. Maybe I have to do it. I'll do it on a different night next week. Okay. All right, ladies. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I see y'all. Have a good one. Peace.